Welcome to the Veroscope analysis of the Jenn Soto police interview, where we will be analysing the interview that she has in this room with the Orange County officers. And we will be running through a forensic linguistic analysis where we will be identifying the sensitivity markers in her statement and the different areas of deception, including her hedging and where she uses the incorrect pronouns. I'll start off with just running through how we mark up a document in statement analysis. If you're new to the case of Jenn Soto, this is Jenn Soto, and Stephan Sterns, who was her ex-boyfriend at the time, it was claimed, has recently been sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murder of Madeline Soto, who was only just 13 and was murdered on the evening or morning of her birthday celebration, not her actual birth date. So let's start off with perhaps the first four key findings. Then we'll watch the police interview itself for around about 15 minutes. And then we'll go back to some of the further findings. And also, if you spot your own analysis in the comments, where we've got some excellent analysts already, please do put them in the comments for others to learn from and to contribute to. So we mark up a document using blue, where we look for the becauses and the so's and the since's, etc. We look at the pronoun analysis, also where we have missing pronouns. We look for hedging. We look for where we can see from baseline what we believe to be true. Very, very specific times we mark in green, and all time we mark in green, especially missing time. Here we have examples of how we do that. So missing time, for instance, the next thing I know, eventually, finally, as soon as we, etc. And also we have special patterns, what we believe might be unconscious information or leakage. And we have sensitivity, repeated words and statements, which we mark as pink. And extra detail I mark in yellow. And the normal factor, which is very common in deception, we mark in this manner. So critical finding number one, the phone discovery. Jenn Soto discovers Madeline's phone, and she says, "So," which we mark immediately in blue, "I start calling her, forgetting that I have her phone on me." So this could be an abandoned digital footprint plan. "I had found her phone earlier." This could also be in green because it's a temporal lacuna. "She had left it at home and I brought it with me because she does this often." So she's introducing the excuses as to why she's brought the phone, why she's found the phone, and why she has called the phone even though it's in her possession. And she goes on to say she does leave her phone. So she emphasizes. We have a triple explanation. Forgetting that I have her phone on me. I had found her phone earlier that morning because she does this often. Key finding. When genuinely forgetting something, people don't immediately explain why, and so we mark it with a flag in forensic linguistics. And this preemptive explanation structure indicates she's anticipating the investigator's questions. The sensitivity markers clustered around the phone reveal that this is a critical deception point, as most communications are in crime. Critical finding two, we'll go through the first four and then we'll play the actual video of her being interviewed. So we have excessive words for a simple fact, the sleeping arrangements. So keep a lookout for this section. Unprompted negative reveals the truth. Does she sleep there? So Jenn asks this question. Does she sleep there? And then answers it herself. She asks herself a question no one posed. And in statement analysis, when someone volunteers what didn't happen, we see this as doubly important. It often indicates the opposite occurred. Critical finding 3, the confused narrative structure. Jenn Soto. I don't know if I text or I call. So she's building in vagueness, she's building in optionality. I think I text her and I asked, hey, or I called, no, I called her. I believe she's referring to the teacher here. I waited maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. So I think at this point, I call Stephen, I think. So this sort of vagueness and building in optionality is a deceptive marker. She can't commit to basic actions. And then critical finding number 4, the forgotten search mission. I had completely forgotten about him wanting to take the drive or that he actually did it. And it wasn't confirmed to me until the following day, where agents came to the house and we sat in the car for a good amount of time, and I noticed the chair has adjusted. Well, the chair doesn't adjust itself in a similar way to the gun went off. That's passive language. So she can't forget the partner searching for the missing child. And in fact, I believe that she was against him going to search for Madeline because of the car insurance and various other excuses. So impossibility 1, completely forgotten. No. Her child is missing. You don't forget that you attempted to stop Stephan going to look for her. Impossibility 2, wasn't confirmed. Impossibility 3, discovery through the car seat adjustment is not how genuine memory works. And passive language, the chair has adjusted. Chairs don't adjust themselves. Passive language conceals responsibility and or identity. Okay, so we won't go into critical pattern 5 or all the other critical patterns. See if you can spot them yourself, and we'll run through them after the interview, which won't be too long, so we're only playing a short section.
I'm waiting. I wait for about an hour and 10 minutes. 4:04, the bell rings, and I'm waiting. I'm the first in line. And she doesn't come out.
You were in your car?
I was in my car, in the car line, yeah.
Okay.
At this point, it's been a few minutes. She should have been out by now because she's usually one of the first kids out. She knows I'm in the front line. And I'm holding up the line behind me because there's kids.
She's talking about collecting Madeline from school.
Getting in the cars behind and they're all waiting. They can't get around me, right? So I start calling her, forgetting that I have her phone on me. I had found her phone earlier that morning. She had left it at home. And I brought it with me because she does this often. She does leave her phone.
Where was the phone at in the house?
It was on top of the dresser in her bedroom.
Downstairs or I never been in your house.
Downstairs.
Okay.
So, just so you know, I have a 4-bedroom townhouse.
Okay.
The living room has a partition in it, a fake wall kind of thing. That's got her bedroom in it. That's got a bed, a dresser, and a desk on it. Does she sleep there? No. She'll hang out there. She'll use her computer and hang out there. That's her hangout spot. But she primarily sleeps with me every night in my bed. That's because I know the roommates wake up super early in the morning. They're going to be in the kitchen. They're going to wake her up if she's sleeping out in the living room. So I don't.
So your bedroom downstairs, her makeshift bedroom downstairs, guest bedroom upstairs.
Yes.
Got it.
Her phone was on her dresser. When I found it, I was like, oh my god, she's left her phone again. That's great. I brought it with me to the school because I was just going to yell at her and then just hand it to her so she could have something to do on our way home. 4:10
on her way home.
Around and she's still not out, or 4:09, and then at this point I'm feeling the pressure from the cars behind me. I'm like, okay, they're all full, they're all waiting for me to leave and she's not here yet. So I take off and I'm thinking maybe I missed her, maybe I forgot to tell her I was picking her up from school today because I don't know if she knew that I wasn't working.
Okay, so we look out for tense in analysis, and she says, and I'm thinking, as opposed to I thought. It's recognized that she is also fluent in Spanish. However, she does understand and can use correct tenses. So we recognize that she has gone into present tense.
I don't know if she knew if I was off. So I asked, I don't know if I told her that I was going to get her. So I left thinking maybe she walked, that's pretty close to school.
So here we have the mother stating that she can't remember if Madeline would have been aware if she was picking her up, which seems unlikely.
If I can't pick her up at school, that's where I tell her to. I drove the path she would have walked. I didn't see her. I got to the office. And she goes, no, it's a little too early. And I said, okay.
I drove the path she would have walked is interesting terminology.
Let me go drive back down and wait along the path she would walk and just wait. And I parked and I waited. I waited. I'm not sure how long I waited. Maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. She still wasn't there, and I looked at the time and I'm like, okay, she should be back at my mom's office by now. Maybe she took a different path and I didn't see. So I went, no, she's still not here. And I'm like, that's really strange. So I call, I don't know if I text or I call. I think I text her. And I asked, hey, or I called her. I asked,
the redaction is because people's names are in the transcript.
And she said, no, she didn't make it to first or second period. And I said, what do you mean? She was dropped off close to the school. She should have been in school. She goes, no, she didn't make it to first, second period. I said, please check with the rest of your friends, see if she made it to any of her other periods. At some point in this, I emailed one of her teachers asking, actually emailed a few of her teachers and 2 of them responded. One of them said,
so at some point at the beginning of a sentence we mark with a flag, that's a temporal Lacunae, that's missing time.
No, she did not make it to class, and I checked her attendance for the rest of the day. She wasn't in school at all. Like, he sent me a screenshot of like her attendance, and it said 0, 0, 0.
You still have that on the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
If you need to know what app, I'll tell you what app. It's a special school app.
Got it.
He said she was missing all day. And at this point, I start to panic and freak out because that can't be the case. She was dropped off.
We also notice when people say, I start, or I started to, or we planned. So in other words, I start doesn't mean that you did. It doesn't mean that you've completed the action. So we put in a flag. Flags, as everyone's aware by now, doesn't necessarily mean anything per se or individually, but as we see patterns and clusters of flags and superclusters of flags, we can start to determine whether or not a statement appears to be deceptive or not. So in goes a flag because she uses the phrase, I start to panic, as opposed I was panicking, which is different, isn't it?
I had to go check her attendance at school, but the office had closed already. The lights were off. I could see a student sitting in there in the darkness, but I couldn't see any of the administrators or anybody in the office. Lights were off, everything was closed. They wouldn't.
We take notice of lights going on and off in statements for reasons I won't go into now, but we would note it.
Allow me in. I think at this point the teacher had responded to me and told me she didn't make it to school at all. I start having like a freak out panic attack.
Are you still just you at this point? Is it you and Stephan?
So she starts having her freak out panic attack. didn't necessarily have one.
It's me and my sister, and I want to say one of them is Catherine. I start panicking, and I think at this point I call Stephan and I tell him, hey.
Okay, so she's spinning from present to past tense. I start panicking in her story. When we hear stories in the present tense, they're less likely to be authentic.
Because she didn't make it. She's absent today. There's no attendance of her at all today. I'm like, right now. And he said, okay, I'll be there. And he came to the office. And there for like 3 hours, I think. Eventually I contact one of my friends.
Eventually, so here we have a temporal Lacunae, and we would mark it in green and put in the flag.
Whose husband works, or ex-husband works for OCP, or for you guys.
Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I messaged him and I talked to him and I asked him what I should be doing because you guys aren't responding quick enough.
Would you know his name? Where he works?
Yes. Nick Mann.
Okay.
Or Mahon.
Do you know what he does here?
I think he works for SWAT.
Okay.
Sure.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
He tell you to wait?
I can't remember anymore. I think he let us know that there were other kids missing in the area, which is why you guys weren't responding quick enough. I think an 8 and a 9-year-old had gone missing around the same time too, in a playground. They forgot to tell. They didn't tell their mom they were going to the playground or something like that. So all the cops were over there on that side of Hunters Creek. My sister's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever he is, thought it would be a good idea to go to the park and talk to a cop there and see if he could bring a cop back, and that's what he did.
Okay.
And then at that point, that's when the cops started asking us questions, taking a report. Interviewing me. They interviewed Stephan. They asked Stephan to take them back to the location where he dropped them off, and he showed them wherever he dropped her off.
Did she say drop them off there?
They were looking for cameras along the path, and I don't think they found any cameras along the way to see if there was any video recordings. I think.
Did Stephan go with them in their patrol cars, or did he drive himself when they followed? How did that work?
I think he went with them in the patrol car.
Okay.
Then they came back, and then that's it. Everything was done.
That's it. Everything was done. Her daughter is missing. Her daughter's been murdered. That's it. Everything's done. So to me, that's that part of the process is over for her.
The cops were done. We were done.
Cops were done. We were done. This isn't the language of a mother in a panic. This is cops were done. We were done.
What time? You remember what time that was on Monday?
It was after dark. Let's say 8 o'clock.
What did you guys go do after that?
We were in separate cars, me and Stephan.
Okay.
I ugly cried on the way home. I shouldn't have been driving. But I ugly cried on the way home, and I went straight home. And then the first thing I did was call Fox 35 News to see if we can, air some missing children information out there.
Some missing children information out there. see if we can air some missing children information out there. Her own child is missing. So this is categorically wrong. We sometimes see this language with other parents whose child is missing, and they conflate it to looking for children, and they hide behind the let's all look for missing children narrative.
When you say ugly crying, just overly emotional tears, makeup running, or is there like what is your meaning of ugly crying?
Sobbing where I couldn't see the road and I shouldn't have been driving, like I was swerving.
Makes sense. Did Fox 35 come out to your house, or what was their response?
They responded the following day. I think we did a Zoom video interview.
Did Stephan follow you home?
I don't know if he followed me, but he drove home, yeah.
I mean, was it within a reasonable time when you got there? Like,
yes.
okay.
Yes. Drove home. We waited there. We didn't know what to do. I stayed up late. I think I called Fox 35. What else did I do? I think I had to eventually eat and take my medication. He told me he was going to go out cruising that night to go look for her. And I said...
That's an unusual phrase, isn't it? So her daughter's missing, and her ex-boyfriend tells her that he's going to go out cruising to go look for her.
I even questioned that. I asked him, are you sure it's a good idea? You should probably sit tight.
Okay, so here we have a mother who claims to be panicking and ugly crying. Her daughter's missing. The ex-boyfriend says he's going to go out cruising to look for her. And she says, are you sure that's a good idea? Absolute no credibility whatsoever. Deception indicated.
Let's just wait to see if she comes home.
Let's just wait to see if she comes home. Wow. I believe that she has knowledge at this stage in her narrative that Madeline is dead.
And he said he was going to take a drive out. I had completely forgotten about him wanting to take the drive, or that he actually did it. And it wasn't...
I had completely forgotten. So her daughter's missing. The ex-boyfriend says, I'm going to go cruising to look for her. She says, I don't think this is a good idea. And now, within a sentence, she says, and I completely forgot all of that. Not credible.
Confirmed to me until the following day, where agents came to the house and we sat in the car for a good amount of time, and I noticed the chair was adjusted. And I said, did you drive my car? And he said, yeah, remember I said I was going out last night to... That's right, you did say that.
Can he tell you where he looked?
I think he said up and down 192, and I said, why there? And he's like...
So here we have geographic location come out in the statement. And it's sensitive. And she even asks, why there?
I don't know, I'm just looking. I was just trying to look anywhere. And I'm just like, okay.
Did you notice the self-censorship there?
Did he say if he found anything or talked to anybody, or just roamed?
Yeah, roamed.
People in the comments have called this the Soto sigh.
When you were getting ready for bed, you were tired, emotional. Were you falling asleep when he left, or were you already asleep when he left?
I was already asleep when he left.
Okay. Did you she sleep downstairs?
Yeah.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
When you woke up, was
How does she know that she was already asleep when he left?
he already awake? Was he still sleeping?
He was asleep in his bedroom upstairs.
The guest bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you take your medication that night?
I did.
What did you guys do Tuesday?
Notice when she's truthful, she's quite clear and it's quite easy for her to say, I did.
Or just you? You guys, if you're not together, you're not together. What's the timeline on Tuesday?
Tuesday, he slept. I woke up early and started making phone calls to like the National Hotline for Missing and Exploited Children. I called the number that the sheriff's office had given me to see if they had any information, and they let me know that she was like the investigator.
Okay, so not to see if they found my daughter, but to see if they have any information. Completely different psychologically, because in my opinion, she knows her daughter has already been murdered.
Like, what did she say she was? I don't remember what she said her position was, but she had just gotten into the office and was just starting to work on it, so she didn't have anything new for me.
Anything new for me? Do you see? This is not the language of a panicking mother desperately searching for her missing child. I called her to see if she had anything new for me. No.
Her name was Bonnie Mitchell, I remember that. She asked me to send her some photos. The National Exploited Children's Hotline place asked me for photos as well. I think at this point, I had asked my friends and family to start contacting news outlets to try to get as much attention on this as possible. I had a lot of phone calls coming in, and I was picking all of them up, hoping that any of them could help me. But it ended up being news reporters or people who had seen my phone on the my phone number on a flyer and was trying to give me suggestions. Somebody letting me know that they took flyers all the way to Orlando International Airport and posted them all over the place in case she was being trafficked. They suggested that I go to Amtrak and Greyhound. I had my sister making all these runs for me. I didn't leave the house to do any of this.
This is very common with ruses or attempted ruses, the fake kidnap story. The individuals themselves don't do any of the searching. As Jennifer has just stated, she didn't do anything. Didn't leave the house. Got her sister to do a couple of runs, she said, and called a couple of helplines, see if they've got any information for her.
Stephan's still asleep?
Yeah. Eventually, reporters come to the house and do an interview, and at this point, Stephan was awake. I did an interview with them, and then Stephan was crying in the background, and I said, Stephan, do you want?
And of course, the reason they don't search is because they know the truth. It's psychologically a waste of time, so they don't do it.
Want to do the interview? You can if you want. And he sat in front of the camera and did an interview where he cried.
Do you know which news outlet that was with? I know there's a video on Fox 35 where
with
you
him
guys
sitting
appeared to be on like a webcam.
Yeah, that was Zoom. He was sitting in the background for me.
Okay.
He was sitting in the background for me. Interesting.
You had in-person interviews with reporters?
Yes. I want to say it was Channel 9.
Okay.
Yeah, Channel 9.
And he spoke to them?
Yes.
Okay.
And he ugly cried in front of the camera too, so he was fucking fake sob crying.
Can you imagine her when she's storming and stomping around and swearing and shouting? I could imagine she would be quite frightening.
Saying that now, or do you?
I'm saying that now. I didn't
Okay.
think that at the time. At the time, I thought he was truly heartbroken and
Truly heartbroken. That's not the right language.
not that he had done all this shit to her. Like, I look back at shit now, I'm just like, he was fucking lying. He was fucking faking. What else has he been lying to me about? I know he's like a master liar and manipulator because he's done it to his parents, and he's told me and shown me the lies he's done to his parents. But I don't know why I never thought, not me.
The lies are about money. They're about where he's at, what he's doing, what's he.
Yeah, all.
Okay, let's go back to the actual analysis itself and see what we can pick up in some more detail. So, critical finding for the Forgotten Search mission. I think we covered this just before the video started, but we'll go over it quickly now. I had completely forgotten about him wanting to take the drive, or that he actually did it. She had completely, her daughter's missing. No. And reason why, it wasn't confirmed to me until the following day, where agents came to the house and we sat in the car for a good amount of time, and I noticed the chair has adjusted. Okay, so we did cover this, but always look for passive language. It's completely unbelievable that she'd forgotten about this cruising, which is a very strange word to pick. So, critical finding number 5, the geographic leakage. I think he said up a 192, and I said, why there? So this is interesting. If Madeline hasn't been found at this point of the interview, this is possibly leakage and an area to search. And he's like, I don't know, I'm just looking. So I believe that this is leakage. And if so, it means that she's aware of the murder and the location of the body being hidden. Route 192 appears without explanation. It just comes out of the blue. In statement analysis, when specific details emerge without context, especially locations or numbers, they represent information the subject knows is significant, but doesn't intend to reveal very often. Our brains formulate statements based upon all of our knowledge. This is a principle of statement analysis. This includes information we would rather keep secret. It can spill out. Critical finding number 6, the retrospective deception detection. Jen, so he was fucking fake sob crying. I'm saying that now. I didn't think that at the time. At the time, I thought he was truly heartbroken. This is not the right phrase. And not that he had all this shit and not that he had done all this shit to her. Like so we look for this pattern, don't we? Look back at shit now, and just like he was fucking lying, he was fucking faking. I know he's like a master liar manipulator because he's done it to his parents, and he's told me and shown me the lies he's done to his parents, but I don't know why I never thought not me. So we have the patterns that we've all come to know. Prior knowledge of deception capabilities. She reveals sophisticated understanding of his deception patterns. This isn't new knowledge for her. And she's also beginning to blame. done it to his parents, shown me the lies, but is confused as to why her. Critical admission. I never thought, not me. This reveals she knew he was capable of elaborate deception, but chose to believe she was exempt. I don't believe so. I believe she's party to the cover-up, at least, if not party to the murder and party to the crimes that have occurred before the murder, which are probably the motive for the murder, because it was about to be revealed, in my opinion. Someone aware of these patterns wouldn't be completely fooled during the actual events. Critical finding 7. She cannot commit to her own panic. I start having like a freak out panic attack. Remember that? The word like is hedging, and also I start doesn't necessarily mean that they completed the action. So here we have 2 deception markers which lead me to believe that this isn't true. The word like is hedging language about her own emotional response. According to forensic linguistic principles, people don't hedge genuine emotions. Real panic doesn't need qualification. You either have a panic attack or you don't. The hedge like, because people don't like to lie. The unconscious doesn't like to lie, so it puts this sort of language in. Reveals this is a performance of emotion, not genuine maternal terror. When emotion appears in the wrong place in a statement, it indicates deception rather than experiential memory. Critical finding 8. Missing time often equals missing information. At some point in this, I emailed one of her teachers. Eventually, I contact one of my friends. The next thing I know, finally, I ugly cried, etc. Temporal lacunae throughout the critical period. Words like at some point, eventually, finally, the next thing I know indicate missing time, missing information. I'm not sure, this might be an example, but as opposed to actual transcript. Key principles. To withhold information, the subject must be thinking about it, but not stating it. She cannot tell us everything that happened because she chooses to skip over critical periods. Most deceptive people do not lie outright. In other words, they don't lie by outright commission because they might get caught, so they lie mainly by leaving, by omission, by leaving things out, or hoping that you'll fill in the blanks. And in statement analysis as a principle, we don't say what they can't say for themselves for them. Critical finding 9, incomplete social introductions. I think at this point I called Stephan. They later interviewed Stephan. So this is more of a principle rather than, in my opinion, actually relevant to this statement. Yeah, that's more of a principle. So what's missing? We don't have the true maternal fear and terror. We don't have it, do we, in the statement? And in fact, we have that she's calling the child helplines not for Madeline, but for children in general. That is very, very telling. I'm absolutely convinced, as much as I can be in statement analysis, that she is aware of that her child has already been murdered, and I believe she's also fully aware why. So we have linguistic pattern convergence, triple explanation cascade about the phone. She has an anticipatory structure about what the detective might ask, indicates deception. Excessive justification of the sleeping arrangements. Far too many words, extremely sensitive around this subject because she knows why, in my opinion. Cannot commit to basic actions. Excessive hedging throughout. And this is just a short part of the transcript. Completely forgotten the search for her missing child that evening, and she forgets her ex-boyfriend suggested going out to search for her, and she even suggested to her ex-boyfriend that might not be a good idea, and then suddenly in the morning forgets this even occurred. No, incorrect, deception. And why deception? Because she's involved. Route 192, specific mention. I believe this is unconscious leakage of the location of where poor Madeline was eventually, there was an attempt to hide her body. Missing maternal distress. Sophisticated deception but claims ignorance. Focus on establishing not knowing rather than finding the child. Hedging genuine emotion. Lots of missing time. Passive voice. Incomplete social introductions, but I'll say this is more of a principle rather than relevant to this part of the analysis. High deception probability. Multiple independent linguistic anomalies converge to indicate consciousness of information being concealed from the investigators. The brain was designed to tell the truth. That's true. Deception, the brain doesn't like to tell lies. It struggles with it. Deception creates cognitive dissonance, which disrupts the smooth process of communication and thinking. This disruption is what statement analysis exploits to learn the truth. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this part of the analysis. We'll continue on with the police interview in the next analysis, which I believe will be part 5 of this series. Okay, so look forward to chatting in the comments. There's so much more just in this section. If you see where the deception is, put it in the comments and we can all learn from each other, and I look forward to seeing what you discover. Okay, have a lovely evening.